Hi, I'm Gary Bauman of the Southeast Asia Travel Show, and I'm guest hosting this edition of the Inspiring Women in Travel Asia, or IWTA video series. My guest today is Delphine Guillon, Deputy Managing Director and Head of Sales and Operations at Asian Trails. Looking at Delphine's impressive resume, there's plenty of compelling things to talk about over the next 30 minutes. But first, let's introduce Delphine. Delphine, how are you doing? And how is life in wonderful Bangkok right now?
Hi, Gary. Thanks for hosting. All good in Bangkok. Back from quite a few extensive trips abroad, but now back in wonderful Bangkok, as you said, where I've been for nearly 9 years actually. Still loving it. So all good. Thank you.
Good. And how does Bangkok feel right now? Does it feel busy again? Does it start to, is the buzz back?
Absolutely, that's definitely buzzing again. It feels like we can now go out, we can hang outside, we can do sports, we can go out. So that's definitely back to normal with not we're still not at the volume of 2019 in terms of tourism frequency, but that's definitely busier. So that's encouraging for the travel world.
Yeah, absolutely. What a difference a year makes. If we'd been talking a year ago, it would have been very, very different, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, Delphine, before we discuss your career and your achievements and your inspirations, let's just go back to basics and let's talk about travel. So, what does travel mean to you, both personally and professionally?
Yeah, so travel has always been a big part of my life, from very little. We've always been on holidays with the family once or twice a year. I'm French. I mean, France has a lot to offer. So that was just an opportunity to get together, get to discover new areas, enjoy sightseeing, enjoy hiking, meet people, and that's still what it is today. I've then started traveling abroad with myself, and that was always about the encounter, really, who you meet on the road, getting to know the person you're traveling with. And I believe that's really much reflecting in my inspiration professionally. That's what I feel travel is all about, and meeting people, discovering new culture, go sightseeing, get a little bit out of your comfort zone. So yeah, that's what travel is all about, I believe.
Yeah, great description. Out of your comfort zone. I really like that. So, tell us about your role at Asian Trails and the company that you work for. Just give us a bit of a background.
Yeah, so Asian Trails is a very well-established DMC in Asia and Southeast Asia. It's headquartered in Bangkok, has 9 offices all across the region, and has always been a leading DMC for all segments. We cater for individual travelers, for leisure groups, for MICE groups. We're now also moving and stepping in the online travel business, which obviously is a massive step forward for the company. And me, as part of this company, I'm the deputy MD and the head of sales and operations for Asian Trails Thailand. And my role is basically to lead the commercial strategy of the company, to support and coach the team to move forward, to move forward towards the same company's goals. So there's a lot of human skills and coaching, as well as some business development strategy.
Great, thanks for that. So, the next question I'm going to ask you, I think I kind of know the answer because we've been trying to set up this call for a while and we've both been traveling quite a lot. But with this role, how much time are you traveling? How much time are you on the road?
Yeah, more and more, obviously, as we're now back to international travel again, but definitely doing normally 2 big trips a year. I'm lucky enough to have a team, so I'm not the one attending all the major trade shows. So we divide it, but yeah, once or twice a year internationally, and then obviously locally we also get to travel quite a bit. We have here at Asian Trails a dedicated sourcing team, so developing new products that on the sales side, we obviously need to be familiar with. So we're lucky enough to go out here and there as well, experiencing those new products to then be able to push them onto the market. So yeah, definitely on the road quite a bit, but we're still enough time here at the office or in Bangkok to be with the team.
Great to hear. So let's take a step back. I want to talk a little bit about your career and your history. Let's go back quite a way. So you studied for a degree in foreign languages and international trade in Nantes in France. And then you did a 2-year language training course in Xiamen in China. So tell us a bit more about your time studying in China. Why did you choose that? And what did you learn from the experience?
Yeah, my time in China, actually, I loved it. Every time I speak about it, I probably have stars in my eyes. So I was lucky enough when as part of my bachelor, I had a year abroad at Cardiff University, where I was already studying a bit of Chinese, but at very beginner level. I've always been in love with those so-called, at the time, rare languages. So that included a few I studied myself, and I started to take on Chinese. And at the time, I was pushed by my Chinese teacher to apply for a scholarship through the Confucius Institute. I was lucky enough again to get it. My first time so far away from the family, so far away from my home culture, but like I would do that all over again. That was just magical. It was meeting new people. It was I felt like as I was getting more comfortable with the languages, I had so many meaningful cultural experiences. I spent my first Chinese New Year in a small village in China, and that's really where you understand. I mean, that's going back to what we were discussing earlier. That's going back to what travel is all about. That's about getting out there, meeting people, just go with the flow, and most of the time you really have the most wonderful experiences. So China, as a student as well, managed to travel quite extensively. It's a beautiful country. So yeah, and that definitely was for me the start, I believe, of my true love for tourism.
And tell us a bit more about Xiamen, because it's not one of the most famous cities. It's a big city, but it's not Shanghai, it's not Beijing. Tell us a bit more about the city and your experience there.
Yeah, so as a scholarship student, I was actually based on campus. So it was great because I was in the middle of the Chinese students, and that was the best way to get into the culture. So Xiamen is a small, Xiamen is spread between an island and the mainland. So the university campus was on the island part. So that was great because you were going out of university and straight on the beach. That is definitely growing, but at the time when I was there, we were still quite a few foreigners, but definitely not to the extent it is today. But so that was a very good mix between Chinese friends and international friends, and all mixing together. Yes, Xiamen is a very beautiful city, a little bit off the touristy radar, which I believe is why it's so charming.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So earlier on, I asked you about what travel and tourism means to you. And I'm going to throw that question back to you in a slightly different way, because you do speak several languages. How has learning languages, speaking languages, how has that influenced your career and your travel experiences?
Yeah, I think definitely learning languages leads to multiplying experiences abroad, because you probably go out a little bit more because you're more comfortable communicating with people. So me first getting more comfortable in English with my experience in the UK, then taking a step again further with Chinese, and then that was my first experience in Asia. So yeah, I believe multiplying languages first allows you to really I mean, we were speaking about comfort zone, move out of your comfort zone and try new things that are maybe facilitated by the fact you speak a foreign language. And that's also, for me, getting to learn new foreign languages was a way to get into a different culture. And I think that is at the heart of traveling. You travel because you want to meet, you want to understand new culture, you want to discover what's up in on the other side of the world. And yeah, I do think it's facilitated by speaking more languages.
Wow, it's a fascinating perspective. Thanks for that, Delphine. So let's bring it a little bit more up to date about your current role there at Asia Trails. You took on the current position that you have in 2021 when the pandemic was, well, at its height here in Southeast Asia, a difficult time. How did you approach taking on the role at what wasn't just a difficult time for the travel industry, it was a difficult time for everybody across the region?
Absolutely. I feel like I was very fortunate in a time when it was very challenging all around. So I was not new to Asian Trails. I was already part of the big Asian Trails family in another role. And Asian Trails has actually supported the staff throughout COVID. We've actually not let go of many people, contrary to lots of other companies. We were just fortunate in that way. And when I've been offered that role, I knew that'd be challenging because of the times we were going through. But I also knew that I would get the support I needed to grow and be good in this role. I'm lucky enough to have a CEO, an MD, and more colleagues around who have always been very supportive. So I sort of took that as a challenge, but as a very positive challenge, because I knew I was surrounded by qualified and very supportive people. So that was all of a sudden me being a bit scared was like, okay, no, let's turn that into what it is, a massive and great opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And I mean, there's no doubt that the pandemic, the 2.5 years that we've been through, it's changed so many lives. It's changed our perspectives on so many things. As a travel business executive, what did you learn personally from it? What sort of takeaways have you got in terms of how it's changed your thinking about the business and about travel itself?
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot of things, and you have to change your perspective. As you said, we've discovered that we need to diversify. We need to make sure we actually tackle not only every segment of the business, but every region we can get into. So we've actually decided to tackle the domestic market. At the time, only actually domestic travel was an option for us to generate a little bit of business. That was brand new, but I believe we had the right people to really push that. That was a slow start, but we're getting there slowly, and that's something we don't want to scratch from our books now, because we believe with everything that is happening in the world, and we never know where next challenge might come from. So diversifying our markets has definitely been one of the things we took from the pandemic. Also, the way of travels have changed. We now notice people with, and we've noticed that actually even when Thailand was not fully open, people tend to travel at a bit of a more leisurely pace, a bit of a slower pace. They tend to spend a bit longer in each of the destinations. So that meant offer-wise that we needed to offer more in a destination where traditionally people would spend a bit less time. So Phuket has been an area where we've done loads of product development. We've partnered with local communities. We tried to make Phuket more than just a beach destination because it has so much to offer. So I think that's also something we took from the pandemic, that such a well-known area can actually offer much more than what it was traditionally known for.
Yeah, that's a good answer too. So we're looking back, the start of December, 2022 seems to have disappeared quite fast. What takeaways do you take from the business and from travel in 2022? And taking that forward, where do you see the opportunities for growth and development next year?
Yeah, so as I said, I think we want to grow regionally. We traditionally very present on the long haul, more Western markets. What we see today is a shift towards more regional travel. As of today, by far the Indian travelers are our top travelers. So we definitely want to keep pushing in areas where maybe we have not yet explored our opportunities. We also have done loads of efforts in diversifying our offers. So that includes as well a big piece of work on sustainability and accessible tourism, where we believe maybe we have started stepping in there even before the pandemic, but we believe it is for us definitely a big segment to look after in 2023.
Yeah, really, really salient points there. I mean, I've been at quite a few conferences in recent weeks, and sustainability is top level now. Everybody is talking about it. Everybody's trying to find solutions. Everybody is trying to work through how we actually repair so much damage that's been done to the climate. But one of the things I'm quite interested for you and for your companies, you mentioned there that you're working and you have been working in the sustainability sphere. Are you seeing feedback on that from your customers? Are they starting to expect more sustainability from their tourism?
Absolutely. Loads of travelers now are really after those local experiences, local encounters. They want to travel in a meaningful way. So they want to make sure that when they travel, they compensate they want to offset their carbon. They want to give back to the community. That was a trend we identified before, of course, but I believe now that we've seen what the world would look like if we were more careful. I mean, pink dolphins have come back in Canom. Diving has never been as good around Koh Tao because the underwater life is blooming. So I think people are very much more aware now and want to keep this going. So we on our side definitely want to include more of those sustainable experiences into our offers.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And I think, like you said, I mean, companies are thinking about this proactively and trying to find solutions. Customers are expecting more solutions. So it's going to raise the bar. So it's going to get quite challenging, I imagine, to be able to come up with new systems that actually make a tangible difference.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's about offering the right offers. That's about working with the right people. I mean, we've partnered with some very good and high quality CBT communities. We also offer an optional contribution to an NGO, and we're trying as well to move plastic free. So that I believe actually it's not necessarily to differentiate ourselves from the competition. I believe actually we should all be working together towards that same goal. Yes, that's good if we're pioneers, and I believe Asian Trails is among those, but that should be a common effort.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that as well. So let's, as we wrap up this year, let's talk more personally again. Looking ahead for 2023, what are your personal aspirations for next year?
Yeah, I mean, that's always a very good question. I believe we all want to be step by step, year after year, better versions of ourselves. I think tourism has picked up so quickly and strongly that I might have lacked a bit of time to actually dedicate some of my personal time to stuff I picked up during COVID, and that actually made me feel very good. Meditation is one of them. I've managed to spend a bit more time with a charity I'm involved on a regular basis, and I'd like to go back to a bit more often. I play quite a bit of sports. I'd like to really be able to dedicate a bit more time to growing the team I'm part of. So I believe as well all of this contributes to making me a better professional, because if you have a good and healthy life balance, that's where you eventually excel and give the best to your collaborators.
Yeah, good point. So you mentioned there that some of the things that you like to do, like sports, working with the charity, other things like that as well, you haven't had enough time to dedicate to those this year. Has it been a busier year than you expected?
Yeah, I think with obviously me getting more and more into that new role, and the tourism really picking up probably faster than what we expected, which is obviously a very positive. But yeah, that led to very busy weeks. We started traveling quite extensively. I've been out of the country quite a bit. So yeah, it's been extremely busy for the business, which a good sign. Again, we're not at the level of 2019, but we're really slowly but surely going back into that direction.
Yeah, positive signs. That's great to hear, Delphine. So we've learned a lot about you today, a lot about your company, inspiration, some of the work you do, and some of the things that you like to do away from work. Let's take a sort of a long view back across your life. If you go back to the young student that you were studying foreign languages and international trade, what would you now tell the young Delphine? What have you learned? What's changed in your mind since then?
Yeah, I think I would probably say keep taking the opportunities as they come. Don't really question, because clearly everything that has come to me has led to amazing experiences. I said yes to applying for a scholarship, and I was on my way to China, and that was an incredible 2-year experience. I then took a bit of a junior role in Thailand, and 9 years later, I'm here because I took some risk. And so that's probably what I would say to a younger Delphine, or to anybody who has those ambitions, is to go for it. You might not see yourself in a bigger role, but eventually, with hard work and the right support, that does happen, and that's a very good feeling.
Has the pandemic changed in any way your sort of feeling about your career, or has it just resolved you to be even more concentrated on what you know and what you want to learn?
No, exactly. I think it was just a confirmation of me wanting to work in an industry and for a company that offers opportunities to travelers to discover a destination in a very qualitative way, in the respect of nature and the local community. I think the pandemic really had us realize that we live in such a beautiful world. That sounds a little cliche, but that's exactly what it is. I've traveled quite a bit during COVID around Thailand, as it was the only area we could travel around, and that was wonderful. Went to areas I probably wouldn't have explored if we were still able to go abroad at the time. So yeah, I think that really sort of reassured me, if I needed a bit of reassurance, that yeah, I'm at the right place doing the right job.
That's great to hear. So finally, as I said, we're coming to the end of 2022. Where is on your bucket list for 2023, and why?
So actually, I already have a bit of a secured agenda for 2023. I'm I'm a sports person, and I'm lucky enough to be French, and there will be the Rugby World Cup in France at the end of 2023. So I think that will be the big trip of 2023. Probably then go a little bit around Europe, but. So my bucket list will then probably have to wait until 2024, and that will then probably be Tibet, where I've always wanted to go. Wanted to go hiking. I wanted to go to that spiritual place that has always sort of fascinated me, and just the physical challenge of climbing the Everest. I think that's something that has really appealed to me, and that I want to really make happen.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Tibet and France, two contrasting destinations for 2023 and 2024. Good luck for the Rugby World Cup, by the way.
Thank you.
Delphine, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts, your insights, and your inspirations with us today. It's been fantastic talking to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Gary. Likewise.
And Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, bye-bye.